Welcome to this unit on World War I, where we're going to cover Standard 17 and 18a. So really what we're focused on is World War I and then kind of the rise of chaos that's happening in Russia at the time, the revolution that's beginning to start. Okay, so these are the standards that we're going to cover. So demonstrate an understanding of the long-term causes, those things that lead up to it, and its global impact. So how does it impact the whole world? We're not really going to go into the U.S.'s role very much, or very much in depth, because that's when you take U.S. history, we'll spend a lot of time. And then to examine the economic factors that shaped world societies between World War I and World War II. So we'll touch on the Russian Revolution, and that's where we'll stop with this unit. And then the next unit we'll go into the Bolsheviks and in Stalin and the rise of communism and collectivization in Russia and its shift to the Soviet Union. All right, so we'll just focus on 17 for a bit, but identify the causes of the war, including nationalism, alliances, militarism, and imperialism. And if you use the word MAIN as an acronym, M for militarism, A for alliances, I for imperialism, and N for nationalism, you have the causes of World War I. All right, so the definition for World War I, and please remember that your vocab words that are on your note-taking sheet and vocab note-taking sheet, I tried to color them in pink, but I guess I missed one. So World War I is your first word on your sheet, okay? And it was the first major global war that involved all of the major powers across the world. So it was a war between the Allies, who were Russia, France, the British Empire, Italy and the U.S. and Serbia, and the Central Powers of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey from 1914 to 1918, so the length of a high school career. Here is what Western Europe looked like at the start of World War I. So you've got your Allied powers, your United Kingdom or Great Britain, France, kind of Belgium, Russia, Serbia, Italy. Okay, so those in like the orangish yellowish color are your allies. And then you've got your Central Powers in pink. So you've got Germany, Austria, Hungary, and then Turkey and Bulgaria. And I'm sorry, Turkey is, let's see if I can, well, I can't move the video. But Turkey's right behind my screen. And then your neutral powers, the ones who wanted to stay out of the war, you got in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. Okay, so you can see that the Central Powers are kind of sandwiched in between the Allies, which is going to make it really tough for them to get supplies in, to fight a war on two different sides of their nations, or two fronts. All right, so World War I. So the first, the spark that lit the powder keg, all right, and that's one of the words that describes World War I, is that in Europe, their tensions were high, okay? Everybody was upset. There was a lot of things happening. Nations who weren't given sole sovereignty or the right to rule themselves. So Austria-Hungary took control of Serbia. Austria-Hungary placed a gentleman on the cusp of leadership for Serbia, and his name was Archduke Francis Ferdinand. He was in charge. So Serbia is being controlled and having decisions made for them by somebody who's not even from their nation. Serbian nationalists will assassinate Archduke Francis Ferdinand and his pregnant wife, okay? Because Germany is an ally of Austria-Hungary, Austria-Hungary gives Serbia an ultimatum and says, look, you do all these things to make it up to us. And Serbia's like, no, you shouldn't have even had anybody on our throne. Germany will move their troops to the border to help Austria-Hungary. Russia says, no, we're going to help Serbia. So Russia moves its troops to the German border, okay, which is considered an act of war, and then war breaks out, okay? And then if you've got you have to answer this question, who are the Allied powers? Russia, France, Britain, Italy, and the U.S. The U.S. will join around 1917, so kind of the last year or two of the war. And your central powers are Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. All right, so here's that term we're talking about. All right, militarism, which is a policy of glorifying military power and keeping a standing army always prepared for war. Kind of like who can build the biggest, baddest military? So if my next door neighbor is building up his military, well, I'm going to add to mine. And he's going to see me add to mine, so he's going to add to his. And then we're just going to keep going back and forth. Nobody wins in that situation. Alliances, all right, they're agreements between nations to aid and protect one another. So as soon as Serbia does something bad to Austria-Hungary, Germany jumps in to help. Well, Serbia is an ally of Russia, so Russia jumps in to help them. Okay. And then imperialism, we've already talked about this in the last unit, the policy of extending a country's power and influence through diplomacy or military force. So ensuring that a nation will do what you want by either using force or convincing them to do so. And then nationalism is a strong feeling of pride in one's own nation, meaning, if you are nationalist in the U.S., USA all the way, it can bring people together or it can divide groups of people apart. But it's where you have an intense feeling of support and pride for your own country. And